There's a very specific feeling you get when you're sitting around people and everybody is excited about something and you're just not. And it's not because you think you're better than them, it's not because you don't want to work, it's not because you're lazy or confused. It's much deeper than that. It's like you're listening, you're present, you're trying to understand why everyone is so sure, but something in you isn't attaching to the same future they're attaching to. And if you felt that, I want you to stay with me because that feeling is usually not random. So, growing up, everybody around me could talk about school, jobs, and careers so naturally. My siblings could do it, my friends could do it. People would say things like, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a lawyer, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they sounded excited. They sounded confident. They sounded like they had direction, right? And I remember sitting there thinking, what am I supposed to say? Because in my head, I wasn't even thinking about what job do I want. I was thinking, I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want freedom. I want control. I want ownership. I want my life to feel bigger than this. And when they talked about the paths they were choosing, it wasn't that I thought those paths were bad. It just didn't sound like where I wanted to end up. It didn't sound like wealth to me. And when I say that, I'm not disrespecting anyone's career. I'm saying the way it was being described sounded like a life where you still need permission to live. You still have to clock in. You still have to answer to people. You still have to deal with politics in environments you don't control. And I didn't have the language for that back then. I just knew those conversations did not light me up. I couldn't fake excitement around school or jobs. I couldn't even fake interest. I would go quiet, like literally quiet, not because I didn't have thoughts, but because I didn't relate. But the moment the conversation shifted to business ideals, money, building something, creating something, I would come alive. I would light up. I would suddenly have opinions, questions, and vision. I was quiet when people talking about working for others, but animated when the topic was about ownership. And for a long time, I thought that was a flaw. I really did. I really thought something was wrong with me for a long time. Like, why can't I just be normal? Why can't I just care the way everyone else does? Why can't I just talk about work and school and jobs like everyone else? My sisters could talk about their jobs so easily. Even if they didn't love their jobs, they could still talk about them. School, coworkers, gossip, office stuff. Me, I hated my job. I hated talking about it. I didn't even know how to pretend. I would just shut down. And gossip, office politics, I'm not even built for that. My spirit doesn't even want to participate. Like when you're young, you don't realize that's information. You just think you're weird or behind or not trying hard enough. Now I understand it was a sign. So today I want to talk about 7 signs God may be giving you that you're meant to be an entrepreneur. And your signs might not look like mine. They might be a little bit different, like because different upbringing, different family, different circumstances, but the core feeling is usually the same. Now, if you're new here, my name is Claudie and I am the founder of Lane to Wealth. This channel is about money, long-term thinking, and building wealth in a way that's intentional, faith-led, and aligned with who you are, not who you're pressured to be. I've been on YouTube for about a year now, on and off, learning as I go. I'm not here acting like I have everything figured out. I'm sharing what I've lived, what I've learned, and what I'm still learning, and what I know is true for me at least. And before we go any further, I want to properly thank my subscribers. If you've subscribed, if you've watched more than one video, if you even watched one video, if you've commented, if you've supported quietly, I really appreciate you. I'm thankful genuinely. There were many days I didn't feel like recording, days I did not feel like talking, days I didn't feel confident. And the fact that people were still here, it mattered more than I can even explain. So my goal over the next few months is to hit 1,000 subscribers, right? And I would really love your support in making that happen. And when we reach that milestone, I'm going to give a surprise gift to one of my subscribers. Yay! As a thank you. So it could be 1, 2, 3. You never know. I like to surprise people. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the 7 signs that you're probably meant to be an entrepreneur, right? So, sign number 1, you mentally disengage from normal life conversations, right? But you light up around building, entrepreneurship, businesses. So, this one gets overlooked because it sounds small. If you can sit through conversations about school, careers, promotions, and work drama, and your mind checks out, but the moment someone says something about business, investment, ownerships, real estate ideals, you're fully present. That's actually not boredom. That's wiring. That's how you're wired. That's how the brain is wired. So builders don't get energized by maintaining systems they didn't design. They get energized by creating something of their own. Yeah. So that was me. I could listen to job talk all day and feel nothing. But business talk, I could go on forever. That's not arrogance, that's alignment, guys. So I would like to say sign number 2, if you feel restless in environments that don't match your future, right? So I kind of felt this early when I wanted to leave my state long years ago when I was like 17, 18, right? I wanted to move to LA. Nobody else around me understood that. Everyone else was settling, everyone else was comfortable. And I thought, LA was what looked successful on TV. So I thought that was the rightful place to go to try to be successful. And the feeling wasn't, I hated it where I was. It was like I felt stuck here. I felt like I was stuck. And when I look back now, that makes sense biblically. So throughout the Bible, right, when God wanted to elevate people, he told them to leave. Like Abraham didn't become Abraham until God told him to leave his father's house and go to a land he would show him. No details, just obedience, right? So Joseph, he had to be removed from his family environment before he could be positioned in Egypt. And Moses had to leave Egypt before returning with authority. Remember Ruth in the story? Ruth had to leave Moab to step into her destiny in lineage. Jesus himself left Nazareth before beginning his ministry. Jesus himself, guys. So there's a pattern. Sometimes elevation requires separation. Sometimes growth requires distance. Sometimes your calling cannot unfold in the same place where you were formed. So when I felt that urge to leave it, it wasn't rebellion, it was alignment. But believe me, it took years for me to leave my home state. I'm finally out of my home state, but it took years for that to happen. Over 20 years, I guess. Sign number 3, you try to fit in and eventually you can't fake it anymore. So school never fully worked for me, right? Work was worse. I could fake it for a while, I could adjust, I could be a good employee, but eventually something in me just shut down. And people would say, you change or you don't seem happy. If you know, you know. What was really happening is I stopped pretending. The same thought kept resurfacing in my head. I don't know what to do with my life, but I know I want to be rich. I know I want to be wealthy. I know I want freedom. I know I want control over my time and money. But how? But how? That question, it stayed with me. It followed me. It kept coming back no matter what I tried to distract myself with. So basically, builders don't accept life as is. Builders question. We question everything. So sign number 4, you have entrepreneurial inheritance, right? Even if your life doesn't look entrepreneurial, because I didn't grow up knowing the word entrepreneurship. I really didn't. I grew up in the 90s, in the early 2000s, right? So I didn't grow up knowing that term, but I watched my dad start a church in our home with 8 people and grow it into hundreds. That's leadership. That's vision. That's building from nothing. Basically, starting a church is entrepreneurship for the kingdom, right? It is entrepreneurship for the kingdom. So what I inherited from him wasn't money, it was vision and courage. So sign number 5, you've seen the system and you refuse to accept it as final. So in my dad's country, he was successful, he was respected, he ran a business, he led a church, he had servants, he had maids, he had help, he was very resourced. And when he came to America, that changed, right? We know how that is, right? So no servants, no ease, no system working in his favor. Bare minimum jobs, bare minimum pay. Starting over with no English. Can you imagine starting over with no English, having to raise a family. Yeah, that's hard, right? That's hard. And we all know that story. So watching that, it taught me something early. It taught me that systems matter. But instead of accepting limitation, something in me believed there had to be another way. That belief is entrepreneurial. Sign number 6, you refuse to settle even when settling looks responsible. You don't want comfort without purpose. You don't want safety without alignment. That doesn't make you ungrateful, it makes you called. And the last sign is sign number 7, right? So, sign number 7, you feel it on you. You just can't explain it, you can't justify it, but it's just there, right? So I was raised in the church and I thought money was evil. That can make people afraid of success, right? That's what the church teach you. People are actually afraid of success. But I always noticed God trusted people with wealth, right? Joseph, Esther, Jacob. I didn't want wealth to flex. I wanted it to store it, right? I didn't know it at the time. I didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial environment, but it was in me. It eventually found me through my partner who gave language to what I already felt. So if this feels familiar, you're not imagining it. If you want help taking your first step, I created a free ebook called How to Build Your First Quiet Wealth Stream. You can download it right now. So let's end it with this. Ecclesiastes 7 verse 8 says, "The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride." So if God placed the desire to build inside of you, He did that on purpose. So thank you for watching. I hope to see you on the next video. I'm not sure exactly what the topic is going to be about yet, but I'm excited to talk about it. So stay tuned so we can get into it. God bless. Love you all. Bye.